Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and hi to everyone. Today, is the 23rd of August 2024. Yesterday, supposed to be yesterday, but anyway, because it's a weekday and I have to work and quite tired and so forth and doing some house things and all stuff. I didn't have the time to do my so-called log of my new items that I procured, which I procured yesterday. Waited for 3 months. Finally, it came. As I've been saying and statements on my last few videos, I've been anticipating things that I have bought in an auction in Europe. So today I'm just going to, proudly would say, go one by one in detail for the items that I've won in the auction. Most of them relatively, I would say I've got it based on the market value price, a fair market value price, comparing to what I have purchased in the auction. They're relatively again around buffer of 60%, 50 to 60% of what the value I bought, which means I've bought cheaper by probably 40 or 50% from its actual fair value price in the market value. So it's pretty much some of them, I would say, some of them I bought it a little bit more expensive. Which there are a couple of them that are quite expensive. I bought, but not totally too expensive. But I will have disappointment because some of the notes that I wanted in my collection have slipped off from my hand just because somebody else having the same agenda as I am, trying to procure that note, that item. So I lost a bit. Many of them I lost a bit. So some of those that I've won peculiarly was considered lucky based on its value that I bought. I bought it on a reduce of 50% or reduce of 40% of its actual value in price. Makes me considered very lucky, and in the sense of as an investment is a bonus. So I would like to say that that this probably will be a long and lengthy video because I'm going to talk a little bit more about the notes that I bought and probably sideline a little bit here and there. But anyway, I try my best to go through as quick as possible, making a clip much more compact so that everything goes in a very hunky-dory setting. Alright? Okay. Before I go through the notes, before I go through the actual numismatic sideline or sidebar on the week's view, is of course the most exciting talk of the week, I would say, is the U.S. politics, the Democratic National Convention. I've actually watched it, not live because here is during the daytime in the morning, around 7 a.m. to 11 a.m., which is the same time as New York, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Just change the a.m. to p.m. according to New York Times. So it's 12 hours difference. And it was very exciting and moving when I hear all the speakers, the keynote speech. Of course, the highlight is Kamala Harris, finally, officially, the candidate for president for from the Democratic Party for this November general election in the United States. One of the things that I really like about that, some people may not know, especially the younger generations. I am a younger generation, so it's just that I've been gone through exposure much more deeper in American politics, a little bit more as a non-US citizen. is a lot of those former candidates of the president, and also those who have former president candidate, I would say. They give when they step into the to the podium to give us before they give the speech, and after giving the speech, they're actually playing their so-called theme song. I would like to call it theme song for their campaign, or more preferably, I would say, their campaign song. Like current Kamala Harris is using Beyonce Freedom. Um, some of those nostalgic, like Barack Obama in 2008 theme song, and also Hillary Clinton, uh, Bill Clinton. It all brings back a lot of great memories at that time. Those songs are being played again in the arenas, giving a nostalgic, especially for those who are the long-standing members of the Democratic Party. So I think it's choreographically, I would say it was very good. For the 4 day stretch, having huge stadium participation is a wow factor. A lot of light, glitters, and so on, which is very rare in Asia politics when they campaign, especially when it's called a party, convention and so forth. Most of the countries in Southeast Asia or even Asian countries, it doesn't go with a bang like that. Only America can do it. Only America does it as a part of a swing of emotions, a swing into the grandeur of entertainment, bringing into politics. I think it's very interesting. So yeah, after this, I hope. To me, I as a non-U.S. citizen, I would say I would prefer, at the moment, Kamala Harris. If I have two, I know people would say if you have two devils as an option, you have to pick the least um, evil among them all. You know, so looking at Donald Trump, I probably think it would be bad to let him allow him to govern the country. If it was non, if you ask me, if it's not Donald Trump or any MAGA related faction Republican to run as a candidate, presidential candidate representing the Republican Party, I would I do consider the option to to persuade, in a sense that maybe I would vote or support. I would say support the Republican candidate. At this moment, no. Whatever it takes, I don't think the current mega influence Donald Trump cult of party, it gives a sense like this is what happened when Hitler rise in Germany. The cult of personality. The party, the National Socialist Party, the Nazi Party, before Hitler, it was a quite a moderate party. It wasn't totally radical. They are socialist idea, but engineered to work nationally. The policy to engage as for the working class. Then you have one person like Adolf Hitler hijacking the party, and the party succumbed to Adolf Hitler because he has the energy, the drive, so-called, I would just say falsehood of goodies and so forth, to bring the National Socialist Party into the mainstream. And this is what happens to Republican Party. It's the same scenario. The Republican Party is starting to be more disenfranchised with the Gen X, the younger generations, 50-50 probably with the millennial generations. The young voters are much more less less interested in the Republican Party, and more interested in the Democrats. So Republicans' foothold for future continuation growth is deteriorating. Alright, as witnessed in 2008 election, when Obama became the president, being known as the first African American to become a president, probably the older generation of Republicans, especially the white communities, is a shock. It's a joke, especially a lot of the right-wing Republicans. It's a shock at the moment. It's a realization. In 2008, it sparks, and they're gone desperate. They have no ways to go, and probably having a person who lives like a typical what they wish to be, a conglomerate capitalist person like Donald Trump, steer like a messiah steering the Republican Party, so that they, through him, Republican Party might become back on his feet to become a great party. So this is the same feat of what Adolf Hitler did. I have the problem is the cult of personality. I don't think the policies is an issue. It's the cult of personality, and especially Americans, they are more driven by emotions, would become a very dangerous instrument, detrimental in the long term for democracy and freedom, I would say. So if you ask me, I would have I basically, to me, I have got no choice. It's the only default choice for me to even choose would be the Kamala Harris. The third party, well, they have no strengths to win as a candidate, so I would not put my support on that. So that is my choice. You know, everybody has his choice to make his destiny, and then we must man up or women up, buck up, I would say, to your choice. If you make the wrong choice, take the responsibility. And the good thing about democracy is every 5 years or 4 years, some countries 6 years, they will have, if you don't like your current administration, you can boot them out through election. So that is one way, that's the beauty of democracy, I would say. But of course, with Project 2025 and so forth, it will erode this kind of things and so forth. The election will become more tougher, especially for minorities, especially for the African American, the Asians, the Indians, Latinos, and blah blah blah. And you know, Republic is trying to bring back its old glory days, where the white people, the Caucasians are the dominant, Christianity is the dominant issue on the table, and so forth. So yeah, I see that Make America Great Again is a campaign that brings Jim Crow back to America. You know, centralizing the idea of the old days is, you know, probably until you reach to the point where maybe the alcohol prohibition 2.0 might be back. No alcohol. That's far Christian, I would say, at that time, and probably it might be returning if the Republicans were able to control the country long enough. So that's this week's about any current affair that I want to highlight in my personal log for the current event of the week, I would say. Anyway, now the best part. I'm so excited. Finally, after 3 months of waiting, and finally I got the notes that I really love it, and really I'm aftering it. It's beautiful. So we'll go through the first note now. There you go. First note I've won in the auction. Now, some of you might ask which auction house did I pick. I would like to record it myself. This is not so-called sponsor. I'm just telling where did I go through the auction. I went through, actually, is the KATZ auction, KATZ auction. They're quite relatively, I would not say too young or too prestige. They're right in the middle ballpark. So I would say quite known, but they actually have a lot of the notes specializing in Russians. If you're looking for notes like in East European countries, they have a lot of the in their item list for like countries like Poland, Ukraine, Russia, Croatia, Slovakia, Czechoslovakia, Austria, some of those East European countries that is very precedingly difficult to get, like Bulgaria. They kind of specialize in those items in their auction list. So if you're looking for those kind of East European banknotes, rare ones, the older ones, this auction house, KATZ, KATZ, KATZ Auction, is a good place to go. For me, it's one of my first only European auction house that I personally went through. It's my first time going through an online auction. Hopefully in the future I might be able to participate, probably the Stacks and Bowls auction or Heritage auction from the United States. Japan, most probably I would, is Ginza auction. They do international bidders, so, and they have some English limitation in language there. I understand that Japan, they have other auction house, but they're purely Japanese and they're purely more focused on bidders from local. The bidders from local, they don't tend to entertain overseas bidders. But Ginza auction, they do certain extent entertain international bidders. So probably one day I would try, because I'm collecting Japanese banknotes, and Ginza auction specialize in Japanese items. So it's the best place to get something that is unique and very rare to find, very scarce banknotes. But the thing I would say, the disadvantage is the Ginza auction house, they are specialized in coins, international coins and local coins, rather than banknotes. They treat banknotes like a secondary thing. So I won't be so surprised that disappointment will come. There's not enough this, there's not enough banknote I'm looking for, blah blah blah. But it is what it is. Each auction house are unique to themselves, and the sales is really depend on their track records, whether they are reliable, whether they are able to detect counterfeits, as I say in my previous video about auction houses. So these are the things that you have to give and take. There are pros and cons. The another way, and the most fun part, is you going to Japan. If you're looking for Japanese old banknotes, you go to Japan directly. You go to the coins and banknote shops, and you look for this. You're looking for it. And that's the best part, actually. The journey of looking rarities that you're trying to find to fulfill your hobbies. Going to the country and look for those notes, all the coins, the items, and you found them, is like a treasure. It makes the item more valuable. It adds in sentimental value. Yeah, it adds in sentimental value to it. No money can buy experience. That's what I would always remember, even for any kind of purpose in life. You can't buy experience. You can enjoy it and experience it. All right, okay. Now let's get to the fun part. The first note that I want to show that I bought is this lovely $10 national currency from US. This is specifically for the branch of the Western National Bank of Duluth, Minnesota. Wink wink, Minnesota. Who paid for the bearer about $10. What this one, compared to the value in the book, the catalog book, I have specifically for the Western National Bank of Duluth, branch number code 13116. I bought this a slightly over €20 compared to the catalog book, so I bought a little bit higher. But to me, I know why that the other bidders were trying to get this until they've given up. I think probably because it's the serial number. Some collectors, they buy the notes purposely because it's a very nice serial number, and this one to me it looks very really nice. A003200A is almost a radar number. If either this 2 is a 3 or this 3 is a 2, it's a perfect reflection of a radar, that it would increase its value more, specifically of the note, much greater value. It will add more value to it, especially those who are collecting fancy numbers. I would say fancy numbers, but personally for me, I don't collect fancy numbers. I collect banknotes that is trying to collect them all. Basically, I'm trying to do that, and one of it, this is my very first national currency. Yeah, this is my very first national currency. The back, $10. $10 pretty much is the same as any regular $10 prior 1996. Wink wink there. Prior to 1996, it's just similar design in a sense. Let me see if I can take it out. Yeah. And if you look in, I can see it, but I don't know whether you can. Video. There's a strong fold in the middle, right? As you can see, there's a strong fold. Couple of folds here, here, and here. There's like my couple of folds. Yeah, there's a couple of foxing here. Well, the note is considered very good in condition. I would say probably positive, very fine, not even reaching extremely fine. I wouldn't say it's extremely fine. To my standard, probably is very fine condition to very fine choice condition, according to Sheldon's grading system. Yeah, I got this note pretty much at a steady price, but I believe I have bought it overpriced. Should have stopped, but man, I just really like this note. I don't think anyone in my community actually have US national currency like this one. They had a regular $10, the Federal Reserve note, but not the national currency. So probably I will be the only one that has it, to at least show off. So that's one here. The next one goes to the Africa country, which is the new birth country in South Sudan. Now, what is so special? Now, if those who have collected or currently collecting South Sudan currency, you will notice that a lot of it is, vast majority of your banknotes are pretty much very cheap. But this one is one of those 3 pieces are highly valuable. If you go to eBay and try to buy it, they cost a bung, nearly 300 to 400 US dollar for the set. I believe they have 5 piesta, 10 piesta, and 50 piesta. I'm not too sure. I've forgotten about what are the denomination, but there are 3 of this, and this one, is a denomination of piestas. Most of the Sudanese, the cheap ones that you get from $1, one Sudanese dollar, they are much more viable. They're much more plenty. They're not scarce. This is scarce, and I got the condition is uncirculated for this note. It's uncirculated condition. I hope it would be about 60, maybe 65, 66. There's no foxing, there's sharp edges on the side of the corners here, so I don't see any big problem. Embossing of the flag of Sudan, South Sudan, the watermarks here, they are very embossing. Can see, from even from the surface you can see the lines here. Color wise, I don't kind of like the color, if you're talking about creativity. But what could I say? This note's denomination of piesta is much more smaller than pound. It's like saying $1 and cent. This is like cent to South Sudan. And those days, they haven't issued coins yet. So they issue in banknotes because it's much more faster to production. It's much more faster in production. So they actually printed piastre first. Then subsequently, this notes they was running in the first year of the country's formation. After their independence, they got their independence. They run about 1 year or 2 years before it is discontinued. So that is one of the reasons why this note, that is piastre, those 3 notes, this is one of them, one of the 3, are valuable, and I projected it will continuously increase its value for this note. And it was very lucky of me to get about, I think, 25 pounds, 25 euros. So yeah, even from my standard, it's expensive, but I couldn't find this. It's quite, it's kind of expensive, but I could not find this note. Design wise, it's pretty much like any of their banknote design from for South Sudan, but the color tone is a little bit tacky for me. It's very blurred. There's too much contrast of the brightness. It's lacking in tonality in each of the color. You should be darker, 50% darker and 50% lighter colors to have blend more contrast, like using shadow layering and so forth. This is like very blur. Everything is blur. So if you're under the sunlight or very bright light, it's virtually very difficult to see the details. Right? It's very difficult. Other than that, I would say watermarks are fine. I would say it's the national flag of South Sudan. Embracing is good, and what could I say? There's a security thread. There's a silver line here. Actually, I don't know whether you can see. Yeah, you can see the line. There's a silver line here. Yeah, that's a security features. One of the simple security features. The serial number, only one part is serial number. The back has no serial number, but you can see them. You can see the embossing of the serial number when they stamp it very hard. That shows a little bit more. For me, I kind of like something like this. It brings the freshness of the note really coming out from a printing press. But yeah, otherwise, to me, design wise, do I like it? Not so, but it fulfills my South Sudan collection. Because I already collected all the common ones, especially the pound. I've already collected them all except piastres. I'm looking for the piastres. And of course, this year they have issued out the new 1,000 South Sudan pound. Now there's a big change in this year, the issue of the 1,000 pound, because normally they will say 1,000 South Sudanese pound. The new one is 1,000 South Sudan pound. They removed the word for Sudanese. They changed the Sudanese word to Sudan, so it's South Sudan pound, which is pretty much, I think, in the correct direction. Sudanese sounds like it's like a name of the person's nationality. Is a proper word to use, but for currency, using it as Sudanese, it sounds a bit ridiculous. So they have corrected that to South Sudan pound. So that is pretty much okay. So expect any future of the banknotes in South Sudan to become South Sudan pound. So for those who are starting to collect the South Sudanese pound, you can still collect them right now. They are quite cheap. Before time runs out, those notes will be discontinued, and of course those returned to the bank, they will be erased or destroyed because it's wear and tear. So the quantity indefinitely will be reduced, and the price of value will go up. So yeah, same goes to this small sub denomination of the Sudanese pound, which is piastre. So yeah, one of the great opportunities. So I'm quite happy and glad I got this note. So now I'm still looking for the 2 more of this piastre sub denomination notes. That's another great search. Alright, this next one is the People's Republic of China, the People's Bank of China, 100 yuan, polymer. This was issued in the year 2000. China's mainland China, the People's Republic of China, or more precisely is 中国人民银行, means China's People's Bank, or the People's Bank of China, whatever it is in English. Is it really up to you what do you want to call it, but in Chinese it's called 中国人民银行. It is the first attempt from the China to produce their very own polymer banknote. Now China has not produced in the mainstream, at least in mainstream, using polymer banknotes. They still mass produce a paper currency in China, except commemorative, like the Winter Olympic Games in China. That one, they have two. One is for the 20 renminbi or 20 yuan. One is paper, and the other one is polymer. So the only time that China currently produce polymer banknotes are mostly during commemorative banknotes. That's where they produce. Even currently this year they released the Chinese New Year series. Because this year is the year of the dragon, for the Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year, they released a new 20 yuan or 20 renminbi featuring a commemorative banknote for the Lunar New Year. Is in polymer. So at least we have a clear direction what the bank, when they choose the material to print. For normal currency they are gonna, or for all the denomination from 1 yuan to 100 yuan, they're going to print in paper. When there is a festivity, a sports, or any political significant historical event, if the government wishes to produce a commemorative banknote, chances are they might be producing a polymer banknote as a feature for commemorative of certain event. So this one was printed in 2000. Same, this year is the year of the dragon. Year 2000 is also year of the dragon. So they printed the year of the dragon. So they put the dragon onto the banknote. And this is their very first attempt on polymer, which is very unique, I would say. Now, I actually have two of these. The reason I bought this one is because, well, lucky me, to be honest. Being for first time printing, the margin of error is quite high. So they have a lot of replacement notes to consider. So this polymer note, I actually had the replacement note during my youthful days. Very lucky. I did have the normal general notes. And of course, comparing replacement notes and a normal banknote, the replacement note is more expensive. So I was considered very, very lucky that when I was during the time when they issued this note in the year 2000, around that decade, I got the replacement note. The replacement note, how do we identify it, is the serial number. J means is normal. It is used for general banknote serial number. Replacement note is I. For commemorative banknote is J and I. Okay, only for commemorative banknote they only have two types of serial number prefix. J is for normal, I is for replacement. Now, this is the only commemorative banknote in China that has replacement notes. After this one, till today, like this year's dragon commemorative of the year of the dragon, for this year's 20 yuan, the Olympic Games, Beijing Olympic, Summer Olympic, and also forth. All the commemorative banknotes, they don't have replacement notes. None, if you have seen it, of course. Whether it exists, we don't know. But currently, officially, they don't exist. They only exist in J. There's no I. This is the only banknote that has replacement note, commemorative banknote to have replacement note. Now, the design wise, pretty much for first attempt, I love it. The color wise, I love it because it brings the wealth, especially traditionally as a Chinese community. Gold color or any gold related color, including red, is a sense of wealth, prosperity. So it's a perfect setting to have the Yoda dragon in orange, reddish, gold color as a kind of the color palette to use. So being the first one with a window through plastic, and then if you go under the light, I don't know whether you can see it, it's written here 2000. Okay. Yeah, again, typical Chinese at that time, they didn't write of the correct English. This is a speaking in Mandarin is 中国人民银行 or 中国人民银行, basically is China's People's Bank. It is how they write it, so that when you pronounce it so that the Chinese will understand what you're saying. They don't know the word China, they don't know the word bank, they don't know the word people, but they do know their own words. So just pronounce it written in English to pronounce it into Mandarin. So yeah, that's how it is. It is printed year 2000. So yeah, I would consider this note uncirculated. So uncirculated note, if you ask me, this is considered as uncirculated banknote. So all corners I've seen is they're sharp, no foxing, no folds. So in a very good condition for the price. Currently the market price is floating around 1,200 and so forth. I got this one for around 800 ringgit. So pretty much darn cheap, I would say. They go 1,200 to 1,500. Replacement note goes up to 2,500 ringgit. In ringgit. So I would say I got a very good price for this one. And luckily nobody actually bid, so pretty much I was damn lucky. Next, now most of the notes right now all are actually China, which is very difficult to find in my country at the moment. So you had to go to the auction house to get it. So I found some of those unique ones that I wanted to have. The next one is another China during the Republic time, the Republic era banknote for $1. This is it's written in English here. Yep, the back is written in English. So it's called the China Silk and Tea Industrial Bank, one of the private banks that is governed by proper authority that govern this bank to issue private banknotes equivalent to $1. So it's at the back is written in English, the front is in Mandarin or in Chinese. Specifically, this one is Tianxin, as written here. Now, the old days during the Republic era in China, because China is so vastly big, it's very and it's difficult at that time to have a centralized banking. To unify the country is still in progress. There are warlords here and there. The country was not so unified. So to address this situation, to the demands and needs, or to make sure the economy runs, is that the central government allows certain banks to produce their banknotes and rather than centralize, they decentralize it, and they print in each branch. The banknotes is recognized in each branch as a control of quantity also. So this banknote is issued in Tianjin branch,